Okay, here we are again live. Uh, Vegas horse pools, proxy service, and soccer contest. We've just starting week 3 tomorrow, while also concluding week 2 in the next few days with the remaining first round Copa games. But how's it looking so far, Scott?
Everything looks like it's going really well. That Mexico game was really a barn burner. Uh, my screen, my screen popped up that Jamaica was ahead 1-0, and they took a goal down. So I thought our trap game was actually going to come through there, but Mexico apparently scored in overtime or extra time rather to win the game 1-0. So everybody who
Yeah,
got in on that free space got really lucky there at the end.
yeah. So that was the case in the 50th minute. Jamaica scored. The VAR took it away, and then it was I think the 69th minute that Mexico went ahead 1-0. So almost pulled it off. At least a draw, if Jamaica had won 1-0, would have been interesting at least.
Very much so. Can you tell us what that means? The VAR took it off. Can you explain that to people who don't
Yeah,
know
so
soccer?
these days, a bit like baseball, NFL, and that, where they've got the video referees, uh, soccer, football has it as well. So whether they go and look whether someone was offside and a goal was scored, but it was taken back because they were offside. Maybe there was a handball. Could have been a number of anythings as to why they took the goal away. But it's now becoming part of all sports across the globe. All this video referee stuff. You know, I'm kind of on the fence about it as to whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think they've gotten a lot better in all the sports in reducing the time it takes to do these reviews. But for me, the bounce of the ball and the way it used to be, yes, you'd get frustrated and mad and whatnot, but sometimes it's even worse when the guy up in the booth gets it wrong, and that really drives you crazy. So, it is what it is. It's part of the game now, and we'll move on.
Yeah, I understand that. I appreciate you explaining that for everybody. Let's the first thing I want to say is week 2 is not officially over yet. So the charts will not be published yet, given the fact there's a couple of games left. But what I can tell you is I can give you the results so far. We've had a very interesting week. We had 3 people so far in the week with scores of 11 and 5. No ties. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate the changing of the handicap. So we get what we want is a decision. We don't want anybody getting a free square like the Jamaica game that I made the mistake on. We had 5 people come in at 10 and 6 for the week, which is very strong. And
Well,
then the biggest amount for the week was 9 and 7 with 10. Adam, where did you stack up on this?
I'm not
You
even
know it?
sure. I haven't looked at my results or seen. I started the second week very poorly, but I think based on my betting, if the betting went with the way I picked a week ago, it should have been a decent week.
Yeah, the one advantage you're going to have in the contest over live betting, though, is the lines are getting a little bit stale too. Don't forget.
Right.
And if you guys remember, I talked to Spanky about this, and he let us put that up on Spank Odds. If you just add the bookie VHP proxy, you'll be able to see those lines. Actually, I've got all the lines from Adam for weeks 3, 4, and 5. So the lines are really going to be stale in week 3, 4, and 5, and you can see those guys right now on Spanky's website. So you can go ahead and take advantage of that. So let's talk about so far in the entire tournament. In so far in the tournament, we're starting to get a little bit of separation here. The number one guy in the tournament is 18-7-3. We have one guy with that record. We have 2 guys at 17-8-3, and then we drop down to 15-10-3, and there's 3 people there. So that right now is your leaderboard, your top 6 people, going from all the way from 18 wins to 15 wins. So we're starting to get a little bit of separation there. Adam, what do you think about this? You think we're getting a lot of top-down guys here? Do you think we're getting some handicappers, or do you think we're getting a little bit of variance? What's your money on?
Imagine there's some stale lines there, and people are just top down looking at the screen and taking the pics. I've kind of tried to avoid that myself a little bit, just picking what I like and messing around a little bit with that. But I imagine that's where it is because a lot of the movements have managed to collect the money this week.
They have. Okay, then the top down is working because that's a very common argument in our world. Who makes all the money? Do the top down guys make the money? Do the bottom guys make it all the money? Personally, I believe it's a blend because in most sports, soccer is not one of them. I have a pretty strong handicapper that helps me, but of course, I use top down to get the best price. I think that's the way to do it. I'm kind of a hybrid guy. I think you're
Right.
probably more of a bottom up guy, right?
No, probably more top down. Again, I have some bottom up situations and the way that that's worked, but you know, the easy stuff or the way to really just sort of catch that low hanging fruit, there's still a lot of top down stuff available. Um, and it's easy stuff to pick up. So as I say, there's a blend, but there's still a lot of top down hunting that I have other people out there always looking and sending me stuff as well, and that's generally what they're picking up along the way.
Definitely. Having a strong network in this game is the only way to survive. I'm very, very lucky in that. And that was one of the reasons that tipped the scales to starting BHP Proxy was to allow me to help me make my network even better and even bigger and even stronger. So networking, I'm a big fan of. And if you remember, we have a big networking event coming up with BetBash, and we will be having that morning session of the second day, which is all networking, where you get 15 meetings. And that's something I always, always look forward to. I got a feeling that you feel the same way about that, Adam.
Always. I mean, I was very much, drove my own carriage for a very long time, doing it the way I did it, and this is 15, 20 years ago, where people generally didn't work together. It was more, a war zone kind of thing, trying to pick off each other, and these days there's a lot more community kind of betting and things like that. So there's a lot more betters ultimately that are sort of winning and groups like that. Whereas 20 years ago, it was a handful in different parts of the world, and they were sort of, corporate structure of one or two on the top and then the distribution of their team. Whereas now there's a lot more people working together, have different skill sets, and that sort of gives more opportunity for those groups to do it a little differently. And then obviously these days you need accounts to be able to bet, and then you need to be able to move money and funds and all those kind of things. You need bigger bankrolls. So having a network and a team to really distribute that is just a must.
I agree. That's definitely one of the biggest problems in our whole industry right now is accounts. I don't know how that's ever going to be fixed, but hopefully someday, somehow, it will be fixed. I got a couple of games here in week three that I'd really like to talk about if you're willing to give us some insight. This first game I'd like to ask you about is going to be no shock to you at all. The home country again. I think that I pull up the home country to talk about every single time we have one of these broadcasts. And I believe our next broadcast is in 2 days, if I'm not mistaken, because that's when the next group will be coming out because of the Copa switch. So the first
Right.
game let's talk about is again it's Germany. This time we've only lined them as a half point favorite. Usually been going 1.5 points. What can you tell me about this game Germany versus Switzerland?
Well, first of all, I picked Switzerland, and I believe the most of them picked Germany. Purely, again, if you were doing the top-down method, you would have played Germany because Germany are now minus a half, minus 50. So that's definitely where the market has moved towards. But coming into this event, I really like Switzerland. I wasn't that keen on Germany. Germany's done everything they need to do in the first two games. Switzerland not quite as strong as what would hope, but I think this is an opportunity for them to get the home team and move on to the next round with the home team as well.
Sounds good. Sounds real good. The way I understand the way these soccer tournaments work is the home team has a tremendous advantage. So nothing like that is surprising to me. And like I said, Germany's been one of the teams we've talked about every single time we've got together. So that would probably happen in 2 days also. Another game I'd like to talk about real quick. This is a game you lined at Pick'em, which is interesting because after we talked about that half goal thing, and you still lined it a Pick'em on me, is Hungary versus Scotland. You want to give us your side on that? Oh, by the way, I didn't say Germany is 75%. So 75% of the people took Germany. So you're on the dog side there at 25. So if you're a little bit back in the standings, that's going to be a good game theory for you, assuming, of course, that they win, so you don't get further behind. But tell me a little bit what you think about Hungary versus Switzerland there.
Well, the other aspect of that Germany-Switzerland game is a draw will be enough for Germany as well. So, getting the plus half a goal, you don't need Switzerland to win. Tie's good enough, but again, the value is on Germany making that pick. Scotland and Hungary looks like pretty much a genuine pick 'em. I actually like Hungary. Again, thought they were a decent team coming into it. Scotland seemed like the worst team on paper. But this game is still hovering around, Hungary maybe pick -20 or something like that. But it's a zero game. There was no way to really put in a half in this unless, I could have made Hungary minus a half, which everyone would have then played Scotland. And, that sort of would have there's some spots where you can get away or you can gamble on the putting in the half, but this was a straight up pick 'em game. It was hard to sort of do anything otherwise and then not have 100% people picking one side. So this way, you get a bit of inflection on it, and if it lands on the zero, if it lands on a draw, then so be it. But trying to at least give an opportunity of splitting those picks to hopefully make a decision if one of the teams wins.
Well, we've definitely got a decision here. 68.9% are on Hungary. So if we could pick up a Scotland win on that, there's going to be a real pickup for a lot of people with dogs. There is one other game over here, and I just saw it. Let's see if I can figure out who this is. I guess it's not as big as I thought it was. Um, Belgium. Oh no, it is Belgium at 68.9%. The bar is just as high. You want to talk about that Belgian game a little bit?
Yeah, so that sort of Belgium played today. They won 2-0, so now they really need to win that game to get through. And they're again minus half, -60 now. So it's probably surprising that it's only that percentage. It could have been expected to be mid-80s, 90% if people were looking at these lines, or if they'd waited till today to put in their picks after how Belgium looked.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm really, really surprised at about people putting their picks in for this tournament. The majority of the picks are coming in within the last 4 hours. There's
Right.
very, very little activity until about 4 hours. So about 3 o'clock Pacific time is when everything starts to trickle in. And then the trickle gets really, really heavy going into that 5, 6 o'clock hour. So I guess it's not surprising. People want to try and get as much information as they can, as close to that deadline as they can. That probably makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, and,
So
and that time makes exact sense of when the Belgium game would have been wrapping up today. And then, that
okay.
sort of defined what that line looked like. And again, they did shorten up a bit versus where the market was before today's games. But, that's going to happen with anything. It'd be like making week 3 lines before week 2 in an NFL and using them in the contest kind of thing. It's just part and parcel with trying to navigate such a heavy schedule and such small gaps between the early rounds, and then as we go further and deeper in, and there'll be days off and gaps in between.
Gotcha. I gotcha. There is I guess that I just remembered something else that I saw on Twitter. Would like to try and just get your real quick opinion on. Is there apparently is going to be Gambling 911 is releasing information about there is a big lawsuit coming out about payoffs early. Did you have any opinion on that at all?
What was the topic?
There is going to be a lawsuit against the sports books about a patent infringement on early payouts
Oh, the
on
cash out.
game, the
Right.
cash out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, for me, it's a big pile of nothing. I've heard that these patents and these challenges have been done in the past and lawsuits. I believe it was like against UK companies and all these different things. I guess, now they're trying it in the US space. From the feedback I've gotten, again, it's nothing. There'll be nothing major come of it. But from what I'm learning about the US and these lawsuits and all that kind of thing, sometimes they just like to pay them and make them go away. So I guess it depends how much hunger and, they're usually expensive cases to defend and things like that. So, for me, it's a bit of a guessing game, but from historically what I've heard on these, and this isn't a new conversation, this has been going on for a few years now. I don't
Okay.
expect anything to come of it based on what they have and how the cash out works and how long it's been around and all those kind of different things.
Gotcha. Since Prime is not in Nevada yet, what is Prime's position on early cash out? Do you have that option?
So we have developed it for our LATAM partner. We are going through the regulators right now, having conversations and then potentially putting it in the labs. I suspect and hope all that going smoothly, especially the reports are the key to the whole thing, how a cash out is reported, that I would hope that Prime have cash outs as part of their product catalog by football season. So,
That's-
and I can't see any of this side conversations about this lawsuit or anything sort of getting in that way.
Gotcha. As a bettor, have you ever used the cash out option?
No. And as a bettor, I would advise never to touch that button. Unless you're absolutely desperate to get the money out or don't have a balance there to sort of hedge in a different manner. There is literally a commission underlined, hidden behind this button that when you cash out, you're getting fair price minus, and I've heard things range from 5% to 20% on what a natural hedge would be. So again, unless you really need that money to do something else, unless you're, 5 legs into a 7-leg parlay and it's big money and you can't hedge out any other way, then, pay the price. But I wouldn't be touching a cash out button if it was, I'd write out the result. I just, because I know the mechanisms behind it, and I know some companies are really trying to gouge on this. Nothing that I'm looking to use anytime soon on the better side. On a bookmaker side, click that button, go down on it.
Well, we've just recently started getting this in Nevada at a couple of different books. The only way I can really see myself using it is if I just screwed up. If the Yankees are
Yeah.
playing the Red Sox and I bet the Yankees and I meant to bet the Red Sox, I just got a little trigger happy, then I can see myself using that cash out button and just taking the medicine for making the error rather than taking the loss on the game. So that's the
So
only
that's
reason I see it.
Yeah, and that's sort of something that's, been in conversations that I've had, like being able to have the customer void their wager when they do make a mistake, which does exist in some countries and some sports books. But others have just built that as part of the cash out, and then, you just charge them juice or whatever you want to do on that side of it. But we've had conversations about being the ability to either, again, build a void portion within the system if the bet hasn't changed, or even within the cash out mechanism if the price hasn't changed from when it was placed, giving them like a commission-free cash out, because then it's just avoiding a bet. So there's many different ways that you can look at this and do it. The idea is ultimately to put in as little as friction as possible for the player. And if the price hasn't moved and they want to, cancel or void a bet and put it somewhere else, or like you said, bet the wrong side when they were arbing and wanted to get off and get on what they needed to do, then you're trying to make it as easy as possible for them to do that without having to email or call or anything like that to customer service.
Right, and I'm not sure the book would take that call very well anyway. If you called and
Right.
said you wanted to win a bet, I've got a feeling it wouldn't go very, very easily. But maybe, depending on your relationship with the book, I guess.
Yeah, we have lots of people that have called up, said they made a mistake, or they want to get out of a game that they bet for Sunday because it's Wednesday and they have a Thursday game they want to play and things like that. Always comes down to generally who the customer is and the conversation that's had, and a lot of them, it's really easy, a real easy decision once you sort of hear them out. I think it'd be very rare that we'd actually say no in those situations. Again, it's just part of the hospitality of the customer service aspect to it, and shit happens. So
Yes,
it's, but being able to put that in an instant way where the player can do it directly and then there's no interaction needed and this whole system works frictionlessly, those are the kind of things we're trying to look at and see what are the calls we get, what are the emails we get, and how do we automate as much of that stuff as possible.
exactly. And this is what we talked about last week. So this goes full circle. So when you get a call from a customer and you got on your little check mark box, he's a shot taker. He gets no shot at this void. If he's a good customer and he treats you with respect and he does the right thing, then then you tilt the scales in his favor. So this is another reason why people have to do the right thing with the book, because you've got a long memory and you've got a big notebook and you've got everybody's name written down. Do the right thing, guys. Don't take shots. Just don't do it.
So
What do you say?
here's a perfect time. This just happened to fall perfectly for you to bring this up. We had one of these this week with Prime Sport in
Good.
Ohio. The line should have been minus 500. One of these infamous home runs. Will there be one? Yes or no? Which I've seen flip before, and we've had those issues. So
Yep.
obviously the no should have been minus 500. Someone punched in a bad number, and it was plus 3550. Obviously, everybody. There was a lot of people come out of the woodworks. We also got some messages from players saying, "Hey, your line's it was just plain wrong. Wasn't even flipped." But there was a few customers that once we went through the process, Ohio is actually a very straightforward process that you have your list of rules. If there's something within that rules, you can go ahead and void it and just let the regulator know. So it was really the first time we'd done this in a sense of, things that are 30, 40 cents off, we'll eat those, we'll let the players go, we'll put a note in the account, whatnot. One of the players that did take this 35.50 does have a history of that. Customer service called him up, said that, play will be cancelled. He obviously wasn't very happy, but, and not necessarily very friendly with the customer service. But generally, again, there will be more opportunities for people to get, again, whether it's bonuses, whether it's favors, whether it's all these other things, than taking shots. You might get in one or two, but you'll have a note in your account and you'll be the first one to sort of, just get it wiped out if that situation happens. So it's part and parcel of the game. Human errors, fat fingers, trying to price up 30 things in 2 minutes, and all these different things where it can happen. But just an example, we did get multiple messages saying, "Hey, you've got a bad number." We did get multiple people hitting it for a significant amount, trying to get it in. But it's, part of the process. Some regulators are more difficult to deal with in these situations, some very easy, which, again, from everything that I'm seeing with Ohio, just constantly very professional, straightforward, understand both the bettor and bookmaker side of how to deal with these things, there's certain aspects that are just clear mistakes. And even on our side, as I said, the clear ones, and this was one where I just said, like, just go through the process, contact the regulator, see what happens. How do we do this? Learn as we go. Really, the first time we've done this, because generally we've eaten all the others, whether it's been for small money or whether it's just been, again, something should have been minus 130 one side and it was minus 130 the other. Just so, just make the line right and trade out of it what you can. But this is just, another part of my side of the counter of, what you have to go through, what you deal with and things like that. But we've spoken about this a lot, about this relationship, which it's part of your network. I mean, it's almost one of your most important parts of the network, because again, you might have a position, going back to cash outs, you may have a position where, again, whatever the book can do, may be able to let you hedge knowing that you're going to have X amount in your account once you win it. So there's different things that it's more benefit to build these relationships than do anything else.
Well, I don't know if this is out of bounds for me to say, but you've said Ohio, Ohio, and Ohio. I didn't hear you say New Jersey.
No, the number didn't get posted in New Jersey. It was different,
Okay.
right? Different trading team,
Okay.
different product, different. Yeah, so that was that's where that happened.
Oh, okay. I just wondered if you had a different experience there, and I didn't know if you were willing to talk about
Yeah,
that or
no.
not.
So we haven't done it with New Jersey. I've heard complete opposite about New Jersey, that they just expect you to eat everything, and the bettor's always right, and the bettor gets to take those shots. But I don't know it from experience myself, like we've just experienced with Ohio. So, we'll see if and when that comes up of how that process is and how it goes.
And I know you'll be willing to share it, and that's why I always like talking to you. I can talk to you every day because there's so many things in the world that we share in common and that we agree on. I always enjoy it, and I hope people get as much out of the conversations that we have as I do. So I just want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you letting me being involved in this soccer contest. I think you're doing a great thing for people here. This EV is above $400 the way I'm calculating it. So you're really going over the top. Prime Sports, I hope you guys do really well. I hope you spread to the West Coast. I'm trying to hint there where I want you to go. But I just think you do business right. And I just want to do more business with people like you. So I just want to thank you for letting me be involved in this.
It's great. I'm having a lot of fun myself.
Yeah, and I'm learning a little bit about soccer too. But I think that's about all for this week. Adam, I'll let you close it up. But if you've got something, there is one more thing I got to say. I got to give a little bit of plug here. Spanky is going to be releasing the seminars list here in the next week or two. My name is on that seminars list. I'm going to be giving class on how the proxy system works, what you should look for in a proxy, how the proxy game is supposed to be played. I'm going to go nuts and bolts on it. Also, if you want to sign up for the proxy service for the circuit contest at BetBash, I'm going to be giving away $50 coupons for Spank odds for every single entry you buy. So if you buy 10 entries, that's a $500 coupon for Spank odds. It's something you might want to think about. But Adam, I'll let you take it away.
No, I mean, again, wishing everyone good luck with their picks this week. I can't say enough about the system and the ease of it. Even tonight, when I got my last little nudge of getting my picks in, logged in, within 10 seconds, it punched in random picks of what I, without really looking at the market, what I was thinking when I priced these games up, where I'm likely to be on. And having now looked at the actual markets and the movement, I think I'll be very busy this week placing a few bets. So, we'll just keep at it, chipping away. And I believe Our next one is in a couple of days, when
2
the
days.
2 days, which I
2 days.
believe for you it'll be still live on a boat, and me it'll be live from Energy Stadium in Houston for one of those Copa games. So we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
that will be a lot of fun because this is my first broadcast ever in the state of Washington because I am not home tonight. I'm actually in a motel room.
Okay.
But in 2 days, I will be on the boat. So I'm anxious to see what happens. I don't know if
Uh,
we'll have video or not because I don't know what kind of bandwidth we're going to have. May have to be audio only. And like you
okay.
said, you're going to be at a game, so who knows what'll happen. But in 2 days, the show will go on. If we're audio only, who knows? But I really enjoyed doing this with you, so I want to continue on, even
All right.
through the season with the regular NFL proxy. I want to go ahead and do this every week during that. Also, all I got to do is
I,
talk you into it.
I look forward to that as well. So
Thank you.
good luck, and I'll speak to you in 2 days.
All right, you guys take care.
All right. Later.